Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you very much for inviting us to the annual event today. My name is Stuart White. I am the UK Chief Executive Officer and sponsor of HSBC Asset Management's Diversity, Equity and Inclusion Programme. And I'm joined today by my colleague Carolyn Wilson, who's our Senior Legal Counsel and also co-head of our HSBC Asset Management's Gender Balance team. And what we're going to do today is just showcase some work we've been doing with other member firms about extended leave and a way that extended leave is a route to more inclusivity in our industry. So first of all, I really want to thank other member firms who participated in this particular project. As you can see here, over 14 organisations have worked with us and with a specialist research organisation called Kantar. And through the course of a couple of months, we've conducted some qualitative interviews with individuals within these firms, both men and women. And we've also conducted a quantitative survey as well, which has gone out to the broader membership of the Diversity Project. And what we did is, right at the very beginning, we came together as a working group with these different member firms, and we actually brainstormed some ideas. And it was all around this challenge, which is, what can we do as an industry to minimise the impact of extended leave on particularly women's career progression in the UK asset management industry? And we know this is creating a barrier to promotion and clearly exacerbating the gender pay gap. And we want to try to be truly inclusive. And we also thought, let's extend this, not just maternity leave, but also let's look at paternity leave and indeed sabbaticals. And what we did is, as a team, we brainstormed some ideas of potential solutions that might help. And there were three of them. So the first one was role modelling. It seems quite logical, but could we get more senior leaders in the industry to encourage colleagues to take extended leave and to set an example? So to actively support maternity leave, to encourage the uptake of paternity leave by fathers, or to encourage sabbaticals abroad and for people to come back refreshed with a different perspective when they re-enter the workforce. And for the industry as a whole to commit to implementing and encouraging extended leave. And importantly, normalising that leave should be the same for both men and for women. So this was the first thing. The second thing we thought about was job sharing. And in particular, asset owners and investment consultants, as we know, they want long-term track records from portfolio managers. And could we encourage, or could we get investment consultants and asset owners to support a system where there is more joint management of funds, where two or more managers share the responsibility and oversight? So this could be a pairing, a senior or junior manager, which clearly helps with development, or dividing responsibilities equally between two colleagues. And clearly spreading the responsibility and allowing for coverage would more easily allow managers to take extended leave. And we recognise that this is a great solution, particularly for large organisations that have more bench strength, maybe slightly harder for smaller companies, but indeed we wanted to pressure test this. And then last but not least, we thought of another idea, which is a little more radical, which is, could we create a talent pool? Could we create a group of industry-leading consultants, sort of ex-specialist fund managers, individuals that don't want to work full-time, but have managed funds in the past, and make that talent pool available to all firms, and in particular those smaller firms that don't have the bench strength. Clearly, it could be a trusted source of industry expertise, there could be assurance, and the fund managers could be deployed during those periods of absences and recognised by asset owners and investment consultants that track record can continue during that period of cover. So these are the three things that we pressure tested. And what I'm now going to do is just hand over to Carolyn, who's going to just bring this to life in terms of some of the results we found. So Carolyn, over to you.
Thanks, Stuart. So we wanted to share some of our key findings from the survey with you. The first was that asset management really still is a man's world. In asset management, it's still culturally and numerically a man's world with an 80 to 20 ratio of men to women. This reflects broader social and cultural dynamics. For example, women still take on the lion's share of childcare responsibilities. We found that different genders approach parental leave differently. Extended leave is increasingly being taken by men, but time taken for maternity, paternity leave is very different. For example, men tend to take 3 months or less, whereas women tend to take 3 months to a year. This indicates different behaviours and attitudes rather than a sharing of responsibilities. We found there's a general lack of support for all types of extended leave. For the majority of businesses, not all, but most, extended leave, including sabbaticals, is not a priority and will not be recognised positively until more men, especially the senior ones, take it. So for the moment, both the lack of equal take-up of extended leave and the lack of management support for extended leave means that it's a true barrier to inclusivity. We wanted to share some of the direct feedback we had in the survey on the 3 proposed solutions to this problem. Role modelling. This is essential. The more people take leave, the more people accept it. You'd struggle to find any of our current senior leaders who are actually taking parental leave. I think I heard there was someone taking a sabbatical to go travelling. I'd love to hear more about that. Job sharing. You have to remember that fund managers are quite egotistical. They wouldn't want to share the role. This is increasingly how we're working now. It's far less of that star manager culture. Clients don't want to invest in just one person. How would it work in practice? Would the person left behind have their workload doubled? Talent pool. This is really exciting. I think also for the team, it's great to have that external expertise coming in. I think this would work for listed asset managers where the skills are more transferable and homogenous. It might not work for all types. We've got a big internal team and internal talent pool anyway, which can cover absences. Okay. When it comes to people's experiences of taking extended leave, support from management is a key area for improvement. We found that management needs to understand and address employees' concerns about staying relevant, up to date and confident in their abilities before, during and after taking extended leave. There was a perception of a lack of emotional awareness and sensitivity to these concerns, which led to clumsy handling of direct reports returned to work. While there's a lack of management support across the whole industry, it's particularly prevalent in smaller firms where formalised processes and HR support might not be in place. Now, we had some particularly impactful direct feedback in the survey, which again, we wanted to share with you. My boss didn't handle it well. There was a lot of clumsiness while I was off. My role had changed while I was off, which left me feeling that what I did before wasn't valued. You're vulnerable while you're off, and there's a lack of emotional intelligence. I joined a new team when I came back. All the women came over to say hello, but the only man who spoke to me was the head of the team. My boss didn't speak to me for 2 weeks when I came back. When I raised it with him a few months later, he said he didn't want me to feel pressured, but it had the opposite effect. It felt awful. Those men in management felt they didn't have the concept of paternity leave in their day. It seems an inconvenience, and I got lots of remarks like, "You're having a 6-month holiday."
Carolyn, thank you very much. There's some really impactful statements there, which really bring this to life. And indeed, what we'll do now is we're just going to show 2 short videos of 2 colleagues within our organisation who are, we believe are role models. And we would like to encourage more individuals to step up throughout the industry, really to demonstrate how important it is to take extended leave, but also to promote it in the industry. So first of all, you'll hear from Erin Leonard. Erin is our head of sustainability at HSBC Asset Management. And what's great is Erin has taken 2 types of extended leave, both maternity leave and more recently a sabbatical, actually before she became head of sustainability. So over to Erin.
So we put a lot of ourselves into our jobs, and of course it can be really tricky to navigate the competing demands of home and work. It can be really difficult to find the balance. So in my experience, I've had 2 different leaves of absence that have really benefited me. The first one was for 2 years when I had my first child. I needed to learn how to be a mom and to get my feet on the ground with parenting. So I left my job spent that time at home, and then after 2 years came back to a new role. And one of the benefits of that, besides the personal and family aspect, was the ability to reassess my career and professional aspirations, and to think about where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do next. So that was a great opportunity, and really then restarted my career. The second leave has been much more recent, just this past summer, where I took 2 months off after having been working pretty intensely and at a very fast pace for about 10 years. So I took 2 months off just to get a refresh, and spent that time again with family, and just having some downtime to give myself some mental space. And I have found since coming back that indeed it's really reignited my interest in work, and I feel that I'm being much more productive. So I guess if I were thinking about advice to give others, maybe one of the key points is that it's never an easy time to ask for leave. There's always work, there's always too much to do, but work will go on without you. Your colleagues will miss you, but they'll be happy for you. And I think from a company and a personal perspective, there are benefits for both in terms of taking time out, getting some mental space, and getting your energy back.
And what I'd like to do now is give you a different perspective. You'll hear from Mark Hardiman. Mark is our interim Chief Financial Officer. And Mark has taken a number of paternity leaves, and indeed he's had a new addition recently to the family, so he'll be taking paternity leave very shortly. So over to Mark.
Hi everyone, my name is Mark Hardiman and I'm with HSBC Asset Management. I'm currently the interim global CFO. I just want to say a few words about the shared parental leave that I took a year and a half back with my first baby, little baby Max. We've been discussing with my wife the best way of getting her back into the workforce, and whether she be taking 12 months or 9 months maternity leave. I'm sure many of the people have these discussions at home as well. And I didn't know much about shared parental at all. I went onto the HSBC intranet and the HR site. I had some discussions, with myself and my wife, and it just seemed the right thing to do. So the way it works was we share the 12 months. My wife took 7.5 months. I took 4.5 months. We had a couple of months overlap, and we were able to go traveling to New Zealand. But unfortunately, COVID put a bit of a stop to that. So we had to hot foot it back to the UK. And it just really, it just ticked so many boxes for everyone. It was great for me to spend time with our new little baby when he was 6, 7, 8 months old. It was great to be able to support my wife to get her back into work, full-time work, so earlier than usual, and all the flexibility that having a stay-at-home husband would have for that time, a stay-at-home partner. It was great for HSBC as well. I mean, I came back completely rejuvenated. Had really great support from my line manager at the time and all my colleagues in asset management finance. It was a really great experience, all around. Financially rewarding as well, actually, because many people don't know that HSBC has got a great pay policy as well for shared parental. So definitely worth having a really great look at. Also great for someone who could step into my role for a few months as well. So great career-wise for many people, great for me personally. And I had a lot of support from HSBC.
Wonderful. So hopefully you've had some insights there into the benefits of extended leave. And as part of the research, we're just finishing off with some suggested actions here. So 4 actions. I think the pandemic has offered a huge opportunity for us to reflect as an industry and as firms. And what we should do, we believe, is question what's worked well. Is there learning about extended leave that's going to support broader diversity and inclusion? And are there changes which should become more business as usual? And we need to do this clearly collectively, but also within our own companies. And we should learn from the past. Let's examine our policies and procedures across our businesses and identify where subconscious bias may present itself. And that could be in recruitment, retention, performance, promotion, and indeed extended leave policies as well. And let's elevate extended leave from the bottom of the agenda. It does feel as though it is at the bottom, and we believe that this is a real way to unlock the way to improve organisational and individual wellness. And as we said right at the outset, one of the great benefits, hopefully, will be resolving the gender pay gap, because we'll have more women in senior positions in the future. And then last but not least, let's think about the future. This is not about righting the wrongs. It's not about men who are in senior positions not taking paternity leave in their careers. It's about thinking forward to the future and having a vision for sort of a changing world with plenty of role modelling that you've heard about today. And really for us all to set an example for the future. So with that, again, a huge thank you to all the member firms and all the individuals within those member firms that took part. And there are many more names that are not on this slide as well. So thank you to everyone. And we will be sharing the full research report, which is around 70 pages of really rich data, which hopefully will be helpful as you reflect on these particular issues within your own companies. So with that, thank you very much.